Hello everyone, hope you're all well and thanks very much for all the support with my videos. Today I'm going to do a little bit of a local history walk around Portobello Harbour here in Dublin. As you can see, bridge and out towards Rathmines. And that way is the Grand Canal. Further out, that heads all the way down to the River Shannon and that way. And behind me is the beautiful hotel that was built in the early 19th century, Grand Canal Hotel. Main shareholder was William Digges Latouche. Incidentally, this bridge was named after Latouche as well. There was an accident there in 1861 where a horse bolted and unfortunately a couple of people were drowned. Fell into the depths of the Grand Canal below. And then afterwards the tramway started in the 1870s, leading all the way into the city. But the hotel has a fascinating history because back when the Grand Canal was laid out and started back in the 1700s, there was ideas to put hotels along the way for people who were travelling along the Grand Canal. A lot of people would have been escaping the times of the famine in Ireland as well, would have been transported along the Grand Canal if they were lucky enough to be transported on the Grand Canal to head and be forced from our shores. Transportation links were vital, and many barges such as the Guinness barges that transported all the way to James's Walk, and the last barge was in 1950. Currently there are a lot of barges along the Grand Canal, a lot of houseboats as well, but again, huge history. And the hotel has fascinating history as well because it was a hotel for 50 years, then it became an asylum for blind girls ran by the Catholic nuns, and then became a nursing home as well at one point. It had a few incarnations, and Jack B. Yeats lived there for 7 years, up to 7 years before his death, I think in 1957. Brother of William Butler Yeats and famous painter. The Liffey Swim, he won an Olympic medal for that painting. So beautiful history here, and this was part of the Portobello Harbour, which Osceola in Irish means Cún Éiveann, which means beautiful harbour, named after the battles between Britain and Spain and Panama and Francis Drake and battles of Portobello back in the 17th century. But it was renovated back in 1972 again, but it's back in its original state. You can see it's a beautiful building. Fortunately, a big hotel was built up across the way. Let's just turn around here, I'll show you a little bit more. You can see the dome of the Rathmines Church behind me. And there we go, across the road, the famous Portobello pub people would know. This was very famous in 1916 because there was a barman here by the name of James Joyce, not the famous James Joyce of Ulysses, but a James Joyce who was very much a Republican, who was a 35-year-old barman, lived up on Grove Road, not too far away from here, just up along the Grand Canal, and was a member of the Irish Citizens Army. And this pub was owned by the Davies, and who was pro-landlord, pro-British at the time, actually, the Davies as well. And it's coincidentally, their descendants started the Davies stockbrokers, very much part of the establishment. They've got into enough troubles over the last few years, Davies stockbrokers as well. But of course, when James Joyce took over this building with a few of his comrades, it was a great vantage point to take on the British Army soldiers who were stationed up the road in Portobello Barracks, now called Brewer Barracks. And a lot of those soldiers had to be diverted around Leinster Road, Harold's Cross, to head their way towards the city. So it delayed them for a period of time, which was hugely advantageous, and they took up vantage points in the top of that building. So fantastic history. Unfortunately, dereliction. There was no restaurant there, people may remember. the Georgian restaurant, I think it was called, many years ago as well. But you can see dramatic changes down here over the years in terms of developments, high rise. I did a video before on Richmond Street, and it's maybe I'll add a link to it if I can find it in the comments below as well. And let me know if you have any memories of this area as well, because it's a hugely significant part of Irish history. This was named after the Duke of Richmond, St. Richmond Street. Then Lennox Street, and all this area was named after him as well, because he was the Lord Lieutenant of Ireland from 1807 to 1813. So walk down, we'll show you a few places. Famous place up there was just past it. People might remember the Gigs place. Late night, early morning food after heading out on the tiles for a few pints. Many nights were held in there, I think, and people have memories you can share that of the Gigs place. Funny memories. Long gone. Down there we had a famous pub, it's gone as well. Bambricks, people may remember that. Became the Bernard Shaw, and now developers have moved in and taken over the whole place. As you can see, all this, that was all public land all the way in behind there at Richmond Street. And my grandfather was born down here. My great-grandparents lived on St. Richmond Street. That's where they came from. This is a fascinating house as well. Just show you a move across, it's just safety to do so. You can see from this distance. 52 South Richmond Street. This is where Grace Gifford lived and died in 1955, the 13th of December. Wife of Joseph Mary Plunkett, one of the key architects of the 1916 Rising. And she lived here for a time just before her death in 1955 as well. So people would remember famous song Grace. She was born up in Palmerston Park. Temple Villas up in Palmerston Park, was an artist and great friends with George Russell, fantastic writer, buried up in Mount Jerome, who was one of the key starting points of the Celtic revival in terms of his writings as well. Very involved with the whole nationalist independence movement for Ireland as well through his writings. But of course, Grace Gifford, who suffered an awful lot in her later years as well, and had her own tragedies from a family point of view as well, with her sister Muriel dying a year after the execution of Thomas MacDonagh, her husband, in May 1916 as well. She died in 1917 while out swimming in Skerries in North County Dublin. So, great history. Grandfather was just born down the road, number 58 there. And a few years ago actually there was landlords, Fulcher landlords moved in and tried to evict, and evicted a lot of the tenants in there, claiming substantial refurbishments, and now the rents are probably triple the price of what they were for a lot of the tenants who were back there about 5, 6, 7 years ago. Just take a stroll around and show you a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit longer today probably because it's a bit of a walk and I want to show a few things in this video. And it's worthwhile having a look, but if any memories, share below in the comments. Let me know what you think or any memories of this part of Dublin. Share your family or beautiful shot back up there towards the Rathmines Church, famous church dome that was destined for the Russian Orthodox churches in the early part of the 20th century, but due to the revolution, it ended up in Rathmines. Fascinating history. A couple of houses here now I just want to show you. Just take a stroll down because a lot of famous people lived here. This is Lennox Street, and this was named after, again, the Duke of Richmond. Number 6. This is the home of a famous playwright. There's nothing to signify that he was born here. John McCann. lived here as well. There was John Hughes further up, who was a famous sculptor. Here on Lennox Street. Beautiful old Victorian era houses. Over years, some developed into flats. Now, quite a number are back into family homes in this area. Just come up to 28 now. John Hughes is up here as well. There's a plaque outside John Hughes' home. He lived here for 11 years, famous sculptor. And around the corner on Synge Street, where I went to school myself. We walk down, have a look at this, where George Bernard Shaw lived. Famous author, playwright, activist. A lot of iterations of George Bernard Shaw's life, who lived from 1856 to 1950. And his mother was a mezzo-soprano. I have many gatherings here, so a lot of the impacts of working class Dublin that he would have grown up in would have had a huge bearing in his writings and his involvement in political activism as well. This was his home, where he was born. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature with St. Joan 1925, the Academy Award also as well. Pygmalion, My Fair Lady would have been very famous for. So this was where George Bernard Shaw was known. So anybody watching internationally, there you go. That's his birthplace on Synge Street. This could go on for hours because I could talk here for hours. But rather than go down this way, I'll just stroll around here and show you a little bit around this area. So I hope you enjoyed it. And there's a lot more around this area I could show you. You could spend all day talking about this. There's huge history in Dublin we're all proud of. And places on our doorstep that we notice every day, and some people don't notice because they're busy lives as well, but it's important to take some time and have a look at your environment around you. And we're all products of our previous history and our previous generations who are still with us. So they live on, so keep sharing my videos, I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the likes, shares, comments. Any comments, just share below. And thanks so much for all the support with my videos. So from Synge Street, take care, I'll talk to you all soon. Slán, bye bye.